What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Darian, and of course, I am the Bowtie Fragrance Guy. On this channel, I love to talk about looking good and smelling great. So if those two things are of interest to you, you love to look good every day, you love to smell your best, then this is probably going to be a channel that you're probably going to enjoy. So I recommend you go ahead and click that subscribe button. And while you're at it, if you don't mind, go ahead and click the bell icon as well. That way you get notified every time I release new content on the channel. So a few months ago, I did a 10 out of 10 designer fragrance list. These were fragrances that, of course, are designer scents that I felt were that perfect 10 out of 10. Now, of course, these are my personal opinions, but I think that I put together a really nice list of fragrances that day. So what I wanted to do was follow up with another 10 fragrances. There are 10 other fragrances that I have in my collection that I really feel are worthy of that perfect 10 out of 10 rating. And those are the fragrances that I want to talk about today. So if you want to hear what those fragrances are, you know the routine, keep it locked right here. All right, guys, we're back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked in. Let's go ahead and jump right into this list. I'm going to start it off with a fragrance from the house of Prada, and this one is Prada Lhomme Intense. Prada Lhomme Intense. Now, the original Prada Lhomme, I think, made my first 10 out of 10 fragrance list, and this one is just as good, if not better. One of the things that I love most about this one is the performance that I get from it. It has leather, it has patchouli, it has iris, but it has a beautiful, sweet tonka bean dry down. And I absolutely love the note of tonka bean, especially, of course, we're starting to transition into fall and winter. So I love that because I can always pull this scent out. One of the things that really separates and differentiates this fragrance from a lot of other scents is the performance. Honestly, in my collection, this is probably one of the best performing fragrances that I have. So I love it because I get that iris and I get the leather, but of course, that sweet tonka bean dry down lasts all day long on my skin. So for me, in my books, again, it is worthy of a perfect 10 out of 10 rating from the house of Prada. This is Prada Lhomme Intense. All right, guys, the next fragrance on the list that I will give a perfect 10 out of 10. This fragrance is proof that price has nothing to do ultimately with what is a great scent. This is from the house of Burberry, and this is Burberry Touch. Burberry Touch. I think this made my 10 fragrances for life video before with good reason, man. This is one of the best smelling, easiest to wear fragrances that you're going to find on the market still today, in my opinion, especially for the price. You can find this fragrance now for under $40 for this 3.3 ounce bottle. And I'm just saying that's one of the best values out there because this scent is so great, it's so versatile. The main note here is violet leaf. You open up with violet leaf. I think it has mandarin orange, but then you get into some spicier notes in this as well. Nice cedar wood, sweet tonka bean, musky dry down. Perfect classic scent to wear any place, any time of the year. And that's why, in my opinion, it's a perfect 10 out of 10 from the house of Burberry. This is Burberry Touch. All right, guys, the next fragrance up on the list, this comes from the house of Mugler, and this one is Pure Malt. Pure Malt from the house of Mugler. Of course, you guys know what this one is. This is patchouli, this is cacao. That's really what this fragrance primarily is about. You get the booziness, of course, from the malt, but you get the patchouli, nice patchouli cacao dry down. This stuff is absolutely amazing. Again, another one that I get great performance. And that's something I love about these scents. A lot of the fragrances from this line, the Amen line, perform really, really well on my skin. And when you get great performance out of a fragrance, that's a positive. On top of the fact that it smells great, it's a win-win situation. And I love this scent. Perfect 10 out of 10 from the house of Mugler. This is Pure Malt. All right, guys, the next fragrance up on the list, this comes from the house of Maison Margiela, the replica line. This one is Jazz Club. Jazz Club. Again, another scent that this time of year, fall, winter, I love to reach for. Again, another one for my skin that I get great performance out of. Has a nice kind of citrusy, neroli opening, but the star players here are the rum, the vanilla, and of course the tobacco leaf. Beautiful scent. It does transport you to those jazz clubs in the, the 40s, 50s, 60s era. It makes you think about being in that environment, having a good time. And I love a fragrance that can transport you to a specific location. And this does it to perfection from the house of Maison Margiela. This one is called Jazz Club. All right, guys, the next fragrance up on the list comes from the house of Christian Dior, and this is the original Dior Homme. The original Dior Homme. I told you guys when I heard that this particular fragrance was discontinued when they came out with the new Dior Homme, and in my opinion, it was a shell of itself. I figured, hey, let me go out before these start to fetch a pretty penny and pick up a big bottle. So this is a 5-ounce bottle of this stuff, and I got it for good reason. Guys, Dior Homme Intense is great, but this is the original Irish King right here, Dior Homme, and it just smells absolutely fantastic. Another line, the Dior Homme line, that gives great performance on my skin, and I really can appreciate that. You get the iris, of course, the cacao, the patchouli, absolutely beautiful scent. One of the most complimented fragrances on me when I put it on my skin. This one right here, and of course, again, that's why it gets a 10 out of 10. It smells good, it performs great, and it's just a classic scent from the house of Christian Dior. This is Dior Homme. The next fragrance up on the list, guys, comes from the house of Chanel, and this is Chanel Allure Sport Eau Extreme. Man, guys, this scent, again, I told you before, it kind of gets overshadowed by Bleu de Chanel. I feel like Chanel Allure Homme Edition Blanche gets a little bit more talk than this one, but this one deserves a lot of praise and a lot of attention. Again, another compliment magnet, great performance, nice kind of fresh minty opening. Again, another one with tonka bean on a dry down. One of my favorite notes, what can I say? But I think this one deserves a 10 out of 10 from the house of Chanel. This is Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. Next up on the list from the house of Tom Ford, this one is called Ombré Leather. Ombré Leather. Now, of course, to me, it does resemble Tuscan leather, but this one is a little bit more wearable. Now, I'm a fan of Tuscan leather, but again, it's not a fragrance that you can really wear in my opinion, in various settings. It's a little bit more of a polarizing scent, whereas this one, they made that DNA a little bit easier and more wearable. And hey, it really works for me. I love this stuff, and I'm gonna give you guys a little hint. This smells good. If you have a car that has leather seats, hint, hint, spray a little bit of this in the car. I'm telling you, it smells fantastic. It smells fantastic in the car. It smells even better on my skin. And that's why it gets a 10 out of 10 for me from the house of Tom Ford. This is Ombré Leather. All right, guys, the next fragrance up on this list comes from the house of Dolce Gabbana, and this one is called Dolce Gabbana The One, and this is the Eau de Parfum. Now, again, this is a scent that doesn't get as much talk in the fragrance community as it did years ago, but that has nothing to do with how great it smells. It's still an amazing fragrance, and I know that this one does suffer a little bit in the performance category, but hey guys, for under 50 bucks for what you get in this scent, I think it's still of high value because it's just a great scent. Again, especially for the fall. This scent, it opens up with that, of course, that orange blossom. It has tobacco. It's a nice, warm, ambery, dry down, classic scent. Definitely, in my book, deserves a 10 out of 10 from the house of Dolce & Gabbana. This is the one, Eau de Parfum. All right, guys, the next up on the list, this one comes from the house of Valentino. This is Valentino Uomo Intense. Now, this fragrance came out in the year of 2016. I was already a fan of the original Valentino Uomo. This one took that scent DNA to the next level. It is a beautiful, smooth, deep, dark, leathery scent, and I absolutely love this stuff. Again, another one on my skin that just really, I get great performance out of this. But I love everything about this scent. There's another one that has that leathery, iris combination going on. And again, those notes just tend to work well on my skin, but for everything that it is, definitely in my book deserves a 10 out of 10 from the house of Valentino. This is Valentino Uomo Intense. All right, guys, and last but not least, another fragrance that has seemed to be forgotten about, but it's a classic Definitely deserves a 10 out of 10 from the house of Burberry. This is Burberry London. Burberry London. And man, I absolutely adore this scent. It's one that was released in 2006. And again, there was a lot of talk about this scent back in the day, but a lot of folks don't really talk about it anymore. But guess what? Like I said, it doesn't change the fact that it's very classic. This has cinnamon, it has tobacco in it as well. And this time of year, around the holidays, is the perfect time to wear this scent. I think the company kind of gave it away with the bottle design. It just really transports me to the Thanksgiving, Christmas holiday season. Perfect scent to wear around that time of the year. And guys, it performs good for what it is, but it smells fantastic. And to me, it just really is deserving of a perfect 10 out of 10 rating for all that it does for me as it relates to, from an emotional standpoint, how it makes me feel, what it makes me, the memories that it evokes. Perfect 10 out of 10 in my book from the house of Burberry. This is Burberry London. All right, guys, that's it. That's my time. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video as I gave you another 10 fragrances in my book that deserve a perfect 10 out of 10. I always appreciate you guys taking the time to tune in because, of course, I know you could have been doing anything else, but you took time to watch this video, and I sincerely appreciate that. And don't forget, take the time to like, comment, and subscribe, and share these videos out to folks that you think could use this information or find me entertaining, because I'm your main man, Darren, the Bowtie Fragrance Guy. I love to look good, and of course, I love to smell amazing. So until next time, guys, keep looking good, keep smelling even better. I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.